Hey there, welcome to episode 60 of the FFS Talk audio program. I am your host, Dan Hugo. We are recording this at 2:15 in the afternoon on Thursday, January 16th, 2025. So late in the afternoon, such is life. Today we are going to computer issues abound. So annoying. I'll leave it there for now. Social media chaos, today's title, today's topic. If you are not aware, as I'm recording this in this present time, if you're listening to this sometime in the future, 100 years from now, and you're recalling the days when people used to post on a platform or platforms owned by billionaire weirdos, hopefully things have improved. In the meantime, social media chaos abounds. We're going to have to see what happens. But we'll talk about some possibilities. FFS Talk audio program FFS Talk is dedicated to the program itself and the concept, dedicated to discussing what works, what doesn't, and what we might do about it. And if we can have conversations about this, even better. This is yet another in a long series, about 60 episodes, 61 even. A long series of episodes that are solo, planting seeds for discussions into the future, but also sharing some useful information. I think if you have any interest in these topics, A, you're welcome to participate in a conversation with your views, or B, take from these what you will and go forth and see what happens. See, maybe you can affect some change if needed. The audio program is dedicated to that premise. And again, we'll try to, I think I've mentioned this in previous episodes, we'll try to get some guests, talk about some things, solve some problems, or at least have what we call good faith conversation, maybe even debate. In the meantime, hopefully wherever you found this audio program, you are able to, sorry, I gotta hang up my earbuds there. Hopefully wherever you found this audio program, you're able to locate the episode description, which contains the show notes, a summary of today's episode, which I will read to you. And we have several links today relevant to the topic at hand. So the sooner we start, the sooner we'll end, I suppose. So let's do that. The summary of today's episode: legacy social media platforms in the U.S., United States, well known around the world at this point, are getting a lot of attention, and not necessarily in a great way, as some people are bolting from the old stalwarts in search of the next place to congregate. Is this a good thing? Is blue sky really the next big thing, and for the right reasons? Should we be moving back towards self-publishing? I'll tell you right now, I am in favor of self-publishing. It's not the easiest thing in the world as it once was, but ultimately that is rugged individualism is a part of Americana as much as anything else. Baseball, apple pie, self-publishing your content on the internet. The internets. The links for today's episode, the shameless self-promotion, to start it off with the usual two: buymeacoffee.com/danhugo and ko-fi.com/danhugo. That's ko-fi.com/danhugo, DANHUGO for both. Buymeacoffee.com/danhugo. At the top of the profile page, there's a link to the posts section. I've been posting a buymeacoffee.com only audio program called Buy Me an Update. See what I did there? It is a micro episode, a little update on what was last week, what the topics were last week in the audio programs, and what's coming up for the week ahead. It's published on Monday mornings, typically under 5 minutes so far. I think we're 8 episodes in or so. So you can check that out. It's buymeacoffee.com allows for publishing and hosting the published audio and even video. So we're making use of that. Ko-fi.com does not enable the hosting of the video or audio, so you can link to particular places. Can't link to buymeacoffee.com audio posts. So Ko-fi.com continues to be a place for brief textual updates. Feel free to partake of either or both, and no, you are not obligated to spend any money on either, but you are welcome to. Any proceeds go towards the purchase of coffee beans or coffee making equipment. All projects are powered by coffee. Buymeacoffee.com/danhugo profile page has links to all of my audio program projects, GitHub projects, a little information about my favorite coffee beans, a couple other links, I think at least one affiliate link. So it's kind of a freeform link tree. I use it as such. Both of these platforms are used by open source developers, creators, content creators, and otherwise. So they're useful. I've had them for years and I continue to use them. So you can too. Next up, the Fediverse. You may hear this term more and more. There's a Wikipedia page for it, so you can get the quick rundown on what it is exactly. The Fediverse is interesting because to say that it is one thing is sort of disingenuous. The Fediverse is like the universe, hence the name. So there's a lot of stuff going on. So yes, the universe is arguably one big thing, or is it really? So the Fediverse, for a quick overview, a website called the Fediverse.observer. So Fediverse, Fediverse, Fediverse.observer. Yeah, Observer is one of the newer top-level domains, so it's a real website. It is basically a directory of servers in the Fediverse. The Fediverse is made up of many, and many more growing servers that behave according to the activity stream and activity pub infrastructure. So activity pub to publish new additions, changes, and so on, followers between servers. So you can have servers of different types, different features, and so on, and they communicate with each other using activity pub in the Fediverse. So they interoperate, which is convenient. The Fediverse directory, Fedi, F-E-D-I, directory, directory, exactly like it sounds, Fedi.directory. There you can go and search for people or things, names, words, in the Fediverse if you're trying to track someone down. Because there is no one single server, first of all, it's a misnomer to say, oh, people on Mastodon. I usually say, that's like saying people who use email. Like, what does that really mean? There's a lot of servers out there. There's a lot of email addresses, right? You can be on Gmail, you could be on Yahoo, you could be on Outlook, Hotmail. I think that's still alive. And the list goes on. Your own vanity domains, your work domain, there could be anything. So to call one entire thing the Fediverse or the Mastodon users or the PixelFed users is tricky. So that's one thing. But also there are so many servers that one person could be in multiple places. I have accounts on 4 different Mastodon servers for myself using my name. And then there are some other accounts for some projects and so on. So the Fediverse is a little bit expansive, and the notion of, like how many email addresses do you have? You might have just the one, or you might have dozens. So tracking people down, trying to find who you're looking for and so on, Fedi directory is one way, and there might be other ways. I mentioned Mastodon. You can join mastodon.org. Mastodon. So join Mastodon, one word, .org. You can start there. It's similar to Blue Sky or Twitter if you like. It's been around for a while. It's probably the first sort of practically deployed and usable and now better known implementations of the Activity Pub Federation protocol. All open source. You can launch your own Mastodon instance if you like, or you can use any one of thousands at this point. I think there are several thousand, 2,000-3,000 or so. They're regional, they're interest-based, they're neither of those. You can join any variety of them. Have a look around, see what you think. PixelFed is similar to Instagram. So these are examples of actors in the Fediverse. So PixelFed, similar to Instagram, PixelFed, PixelFed.org, is a project similar to Instagram. You can launch your own PixelFed server. So you could have your own Mastodon and your own PixelFed. So you would have your own Blue Sky / Twitter and your own photo sharing service like Instagram. And you could control them yourself. The PixelFed people who developed that have also recently launched Loop, which I believe is arguably similar to something like TikTok, so intended to allow for duetting or stitching or whatever the various features were for collaboration. virtual collaboration across videos. I think that's what Loop is doing. PeerTube is for, so almost, maybe Loop is closer to Shorts on YouTube. Either way, PeerTube, speaking of, similar to YouTube, joinpeertube.org. So that's join peertube.org. Similar to YouTube, you can launch your own YouTube-like service that's interconnected in the Fediverse via ActivityPub. The interesting thing about this, and you can read about this in the Fediverse Wikipedia page, or if you want to explore a bit, if I have a Mastodon account, I can follow someone on PixelFed due to the ActivityPub actor connections, the follower connections. So you can connect to people, for example, through the ActivityPub protocol. So I can follow you on my Mastodon account, and your PixelFed posts will appear on my Mastodon feed, my timeline, whatever the modern word is. You don't have to share your PixelFed or your Instagram like posts on somewhere else. If someone's following you, they'll just see them. This opens up some interesting possibilities into the future about how people interconnect and how, we'll say, communities can communicate between each other or between individuals that are in multiple communities and so on. So it's an interesting time to look at how these things might work. It's sort of a multicast, cross-functional interoperation following notification scheme. That's a lot of words I just strung together there, but it's pretty interesting. I didn't create a link to it, but ActivityPub. If you search for ActivityPub, all one word, Activity PUB pub, as in publish, you'll find a lot of stuff. There's a lot of information, all open source. You're free to develop a new thing, come up with your own ideas, or use servers as they are written, etc. A link to Posse on indieweb.org, the publish on your own server, syndicate elsewhere, POSSE, publish on, and then in parentheses, your own, and then server, that's POS, and then syndicate elsewhere. The notion is you own your own content, you publish it on your personal blog, not Blogger, not Medium, but something that you own, you control the publication of it and so on. And then you post links to it on social media. There is what is it called? I don't have the window open. Plume, maybe? If you go to Fediverse Observer, it's one of the services that you can search for. I think it's Plume. It's a Fediverse ActivityPub-enabled blogging platform. So you can deploy your own Plume server, for example, but you can make several. You can still use WordPress if you want, or whatever other options are out there. You can pay, or you can use open source software. You can deploy yourself. You could pay for hosting, but as long as you are in control of the content, so that someone can't come along and say, "Sorry, we're shutting you down," and you don't get access to your stuff anymore. So owning your own content, controlling who gets to see it, where it is, and so on. And then, I want more people to see my content. You can post links to it, syndicate links elsewhere. Remember the old RSS feeds for podcasting and even blogging, right? You can still use those. And in fact, those never went away. So the possibilities for syndication and interconnection only growing and increasing in possibility. Finally, there's a free our feeds effort, which is gaining some steam, especially amongst various tech and celebrity luminaries. freeourfeeds.com, all one word, free our feeds. They want to get behind AT Proto and Blue Sky. AT Proto is sort of like ActivityPub. It is also open source. It is arguably, it's slightly different. It's arguably not quite as scalable, but that's a debate going on literally right now. So we'll have to see. There are thousands of ActivityPub services, interconnected, I guess, intercommunicating, is that a word? Communicating amongst each other in the Fediverse. And as far as I know, there is basically Blue Sky and maybe some experimental platforms out there. So AT Proto is not quite getting the field testing that ActivityPub is getting. As far as I know, there may be hundreds and thousands of AT Proto servers running out there, but they are not getting quite the attention. So correct me if I'm wrong. But AT Proto is the one that everyone is throwing some weight behind. I believe that is because it's one thing. Oh, it's Blue Sky, so we can get behind that. Let's get behind the one decentralized platform. So you can arguably say, oh, people who use Blue Sky, fill in the blank. You can make claims that they are all the same in some way. Oh, those people on X versus those people on Blue Sky. Those are silly stereotyping or simplifications or biases or however you want to view that sort of classification. But you cannot say that, oh, those PixelFed users. Well, which PixelFed server? There are hundreds or thousands. The Mastodon servers, I think, like I said, I think it's something like 3,000. It could be vastly more. Who knows? PeerTube. Oh, those PeerTube users. Well, which one? And again, similar to, oh, those people who use email. Well, that's millions, billions even. Like, which one? You mean all the people that use Gmail, which has like an 86% market share of email users? I have how many Gmail accounts, among others? What if I've had my own mail servers before. So what if you said, all those people that use ffstalk.com email? Like, okay, that's one person, two, maybe. So it's tricky to make these classifications on diversified and federated platforms because there can be so many, and any one person or entity, it could be your company or your product or your project or anything. You can have accounts on as many servers as you want. They can be interconnected. They can be totally independent. You never have to tell anyone you have 2, 3, 5, 1,000 accounts. And you can mark them as automated if you want to say, hey, this is a robot. These posts are not generated by a human. You make that very clear. It's part of the account profile. And you can have automated postings for news updates or announcements. And the possibilities are, it's really handing control of your participation back to you within the confines of a platform that is maintained, a server. The platform itself is open source, and you can deploy your own server. So the server has to be maintained by someone. There's resources to pay for. There's time to account for. So within that realm, that person might say, hey, you can only post 280 characters. We don't like bots posting here. So you're allowed one. Or the list goes on. So you can find a server that works for you, or you can launch your own. By getting behind Blue Sky, the rush from Twitter X, the rush from there to Blue Sky, and the desire to provide financial resources to support Blue Sky are interesting, but you're really just leaving one enclave to another when there are so many possibilities out there, my opinion. So I'm going to get some water real quick, and then we'll continue. Hitting pause, and we're back. Ooh, that was a big plosive there. Sorry. I'm going to have to edit that. Hopefully I do. So the really old ways, back when the internets were still only the singular internet, there was only one. Now there's internets. There were very few tools and platforms that enabled what would have been called social networking. I don't even know if it's still called that, but the whole concept is... it's maybe not what it used to be, but for a while, social networking. So back before there was social networking, if there was going to be, there were no tools around, so people developed them. People were getting on the Infobahn and surfing the web, and they were self-publishing, using their university computers, maybe publishing from their home directory with a tilde in it, so tilde username. Companies were figuring out what to do with their .com domains. It was the Wild West. The underpinnings of social media have been around for a very long time. From internet relay chat to Usenet news, those are from the 80s or even before. Some version of chat or message passing was part of the reason why the internet was formed. Why? Is so you could connect research facilities for Defense Department research, DARPANet, ARPANET, BitNet. All these different networks that have combined into the internet. So ways of chatting with text messages and email and news via news groups, which became in the public Usenet News in 1983, I think it was. These were the fundamentals. So you could pass messages to interactively with chat, like internet relay chat, and later you had ICQ and AIM, AOL Instant Messenger. But IRC has been around for a while, still is, still around. Usenet News, still around. Email, still around. So you could interactively chat with one or several people. You could publish articles that would be shared amongst peers via Usenet News, the Network News Protocol, NNTP. Or you could email one or more people and have email discussions. So all these were really about conversation, sharing information, updates, and so on. These are the fundamentals. This is why the DARPANET and now the internet were formed. Information sharing, information resource access, and so on. Like, I have data over here. Do you need it? Well, here it is. The difference is visual flourish and algorithms to feed consumers what keeps them clicking, scrolling, and sometimes seething. So back in the old days, it was text. You'd be sitting at a little terminal with a green screen, typing characters, watching characters come back. Despite an abundance of tools and options today with cloud hosting and home internet connections surely fast enough, the notion of self-publishing has faded a bit. It is still done and could be done a lot more, but it is no longer the Wild West out there on the internets. But could it be again? Social networking is work. The old ways were different because you were responsible for tracking down the people you wanted to connect with, or they found you. So, somebody had to say, I would like to connect with other person. And you would do that. It may be from a list of people. Hey, reach out to these people for this project we're working on. Or here's a list of participants. Here's the mailing list. Here are the people on the recipient list. I think multiple recipients has been around for a while. And then you had to participate by keeping up with what your connections were talking about. You join in here and there and generally behave like a social being at a distance. Like, oh, someone asked me a question. I got to answer it now. This takes time and effort, and unfortunately not every day is an exciting dump of chaos that raises your adrenaline and dopamine. So not every day is oh, somebody said this about someone else, and someone is making your life miserable. Did you know that? So sometimes it's just information that if there's nothing new, there's nothing new. You get on about your day. The web and graphical user interfaces with embedding of images, video would come much later. But the embedding of images was something of a game changer. It made sharing pictures and describing a story or adding a funny caption or commenting on those a real possibility. And that's basically what happened. This was already happening with the Usenet News, but UU encoding and MIME encoding were for the diehards in the early days. You kind of had to know what you were doing. And, what is all this? What are all these lines end with an M? You'll have to decode those and convert them into the image, and it's a multi-part news message. It's very long because it's a big image. That's not friendly to normal people. So once it was integrated, by the way, the original navigator from Netscape had a newsreader that would automatically decode multi-part images. Other tools were around. Google purchased Deja News. Deja News was a web-based Usenet client that would do all that for you as well. It was one such service. There are still Usenet clients floating around, but Google turned Deja News into Google Groups. And you all know how exciting that is. Google Groups is used for Google tech support, for example, and that's, I don't think they're doing it well, but that's a separate thing. If we see things posted from people we know, in the order they happened. Usually we say reverse chronological order. So you'll see the most recent thing. So in reverse order, but you'll see today, and if you scroll down, you'll see yesterday and so on. You know how that works. The first thing we see is the latest thing from someone we know. Hey, look at that. That's something I saw. This is great, but also often boring. If we only know a few people, we might see the same thing there for an hour or maybe all day. Like, the same picture of the birthday party. Okay, yay. That gets so boring. That doesn't hold our attention. We might step away from the computer and go outside or maybe talk to real people. And that does not make companies money. We can change that. Make it sticky. If something is sticky, it's difficult to put down. It's difficult to look away. We want to continue to read or look at or maybe even interact with what we are consuming, whatever it is, video, audio, text. Those are probably the big three. If we rely on our friends and colleagues to post content for us, that we see everything in order, we get what we get. If my friends are not out there raising Cain, causing a ruckus, they got nothing to brighten my day, right? Like, show me some violence, show me some chaos, what's going on with the Fight Club? Nothing. You got nothing. Then it's just normal life. Like, hey, here's a picture of what I see out my window. Add a like button. By the way, for most people, that's nice. Add a like button. We get minimal interaction. Enable comments a little bit more. How to make it really sticky. How are you going to make people want to hang out all day? Forget going outside. I'm looking at this website with all the who knows what. I'm going to hit the refresh button and it could be anything. What if we can share the thing I'm looking at from my friend? I don't even know if the word friend means anything anymore. With my other friends. My other friends may or may not know my friend. So my friend's post is now seen by more people. My friend is seen by my friends. Maybe they become friends. They never have to meet or know each other, but now they're friends. Now more people will see more stuff. Now we're getting greater reach. So we are more likely to hang out and see what new stuff we can see. Oh, my friend posted some chaos. Or my friend's friend, who I didn't know before, posted some chaos. Ooh, I want to see what's going on with that. I'm going to sit here and watch for more. I'm going to follow that person. Shared content stays on and within the platform, though, so it's not visible not visible easily out in the world. So sharing on Usenet and email are no longer as cool. We need to hang out on the silo of choice. And you're seeing this more and more now. They're being a little bit... it already isn't quite the open web anymore. Most famously, Instagram completely broke the notion of links and link sharing and so on. And now they have sign-up walls, which I'll get to in a moment. Now, if we can capture enough behavioral data about you, what you like literally what you click the like button on, what you make comments on, and what you write, and what you share, but I mean what you write is like, which words are you using? Are you positive or negative? What's the sentiment analysis? And it's only going to get more interesting as AI tools, which are already well beyond interesting, as they continue to evolve. Who knows what or who you will be talking to, and then they're gonna parse and analyze and learn from every notion that you choose to publish, what you share, to whom you are connected, and so on. We can do two things with all this information. We can show you content not shared by a friend or someone they know, but content that you will probably enjoy based on your behavior. The algorithm is making these decisions for you. This makes the platform even more sticky. Like, give me more of exactly what I want. Make me angry. Angry people tend to stay engaged longer. Show your advertising, or advertisers, show advertising. We can show you advertising, one of those, that aligns with your interests. All of that behavioral data can make effective targeted advertising very lucrative for the platform. And so the saying, if it's free, you are the product, with advertisers given access in exchange for money through the platform to their most likely future customers. This is great. Now there's a famous saying, my 50% of my advertising dollar is effective at gaining business or customers. I just don't know which 50%. I think I kind of messed that up. But the point is, back in the day, you'd publish in a newspaper and a magazine, and you go look at their circulation, and you figure, okay, well, maybe I'll get, a 2% or 5% growth in sales. I'll do a product announcement, etc. Now, within the bounds of whatever information the platform will share, but who is seeing the advertisements, and you can see what click-through rates are. You can see what the affiliate links or campaign tracking data. So you can see, affiliates are making money, so we'll have to pay them. Oh, look, all of them are Get Honey. That's weird. If you know exactly who is going to see your advertising and you can track exactly how effective they are, that's a kind of a game changer for the advertisers. It does raise questions for the product, which is us. People don't really think about that, though, because I'm getting what I want. I don't have to pay for anything, so sure, I'll see 57 ads for things that turns out I want all of those things. Didn't I just buy that on Amazon? Now I'm seeing it everywhere I look. Interesting. Silos and drama. The problem with making money from keeping people on your platform is you really, really need to keep more and more people on your platform for longer and longer. Eventually, automation, usually called bots, will interact with people as though the bots are people, eliciting a particular response and maybe even changing the opinions of large swaths of people. So bots encourage people to participate, so the platform probably thinks, well, we don't really want the bots, but the bots are making people stick around more. Tough call. If the entity powering the bots has a particular agenda, so maybe you're a government agency or government itself, maybe the entire government, probably an agency in a government, or maybe a company, or who could be anybody, a campaign, political campaign, could be anybody. They can make use of advertising and demographic data to target individual users and then prompt more and more engagement and reaction with these bots, right? You don't even have to really know it's a bot. And now if you've watched the news, Meta, Facebook, was going to actually have AI users on Instagram and Facebook. And apparently people said, no, you're not. So they pulled the plug on that. They'll bring it back. They just won't announce it first. Platforms make profit for their shareholders, if they're public, like Meta, or themselves, if it's a private company like X is now, by adding more and more users, so there is more and more activity, more engagement, more advertising inventory to sell. It's a big feedback loop. It becomes more and more important to make it difficult to leave the platform or to interact across platforms. We want you staying right here. This is sort of a casino tactic also. You don't want people to cash out. And if they do cash out, you don't want them to leave the casino. You want them to go back to another machine or another table, another gaming scenario, and keep spending money. The odds favor the house. So all that money they spend, they might win a little, they might lose a little, they might win a little, they might lose a little more. Eventually the casino will keep the money. So the longer you stay in that casino, don't go outside. This is the Vegas fun economy in action. So you want to keep people in and on your platform. So we begin to see those roadblock login messages that really pressure those who may not already be signed up to sign up, to interact with the content. If you want to see more, you got to sign up or you got to log in so we can keep track of you. Anything that may have been shared externally, then you can kind of see it. It's like a little tease, like, oh, here's the first 9 pictures. If you want to see the rest, gotta sign up, gotta log in. There is a fine line that platforms will allow to draw fine line to draw. No, it's a fine line that platforms will allow to draw in new users. We run into this all the time now. Twitter, you have to be logged in most of the time. Instagram, you're pretty much logging in if you want to see anything. And articles will link. My favorite in the modern era is people will write a 500-word article on a 10-word tweet. But they'll link to the tweet and they'll put the full text. But if you want to see the conversation thread that follows, you're going to have to probably log into X to see it. Good for you. Of course, with the floodgates open to attract more new users, and of course this is really possible and even likely anywhere where anyone is allowed to post what we call user-generated content, the odds strongly favor abusive, obscene, and even dangerous actors, people, if you want to call them people, entering the population silo. So like, I can sign up for this new Twitter service many years ago, and I can say what I want, and I don't really have to share my true identity. So Dan Hugo can post as evil person, and no one will know. Well, Twitter will know. Twitter will know who it is, and they might share that with the law enforcement authorities, or maybe not. Making moderation and user safety a high priority. You should look out for your users. You don't want a virtual a flame war, as we used to call them, trolls. You don't want a fight to break out, doxing. Well, here's your home address, everybody. You don't want that to turn into people showing up at the person's home address and committing acts of violence, crime, as we sometimes call it. So how high the priority is for the moderation and user safety, how high depends on a few factors. Maybe there is a fine line here as well between safety and user counts. And as we know, user counts translate to profit. Profit's important. Do I sound cynical? I hope so. So the days of reckoning may be at hand with Twitter, when Twitter became X, when Facebook became Meta. Facebook renamed itself. Facebook became part of a kind of a naming hierarchy. So Meta owns Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp, just like Google is now owned by its parent entity Alphabet, which owns Google and YouTube and whatever else. So not truly a rename. There's still a Facebook, but Twitter was renamed to X to the extent that long existing Twitter URL brand will be able to change completely. When political ideology became so divisive, when online discourse became more and more angry, misleading, and in some cases dangerous, some embraced any freedom to express whatever thought they may have, or whether it was their own or inserted by someone or something else. Others tried to stay within their spheres, using the platforms of whatever they're using. Could be Reddit, could be Instagram, could be anything. Because this is where their friends, their colleagues, even family members are reached. So they're like, I'm kind of stuck here because everybody I know uses Facebook. That's a you problem. Eventually, though, the state of affairs. Now, the problem is when you do business through Facebook, you've handed your brand over to another company, and then you're upset that they are mishandling the environment that your brand is now in. Don't do that. Eventually, though, the state of affairs reaches the points various platforms are reaching now with misinformation, finger pointing, political influence, whether desirable or not, moderation failures, hate speech, all manner of chaos. And sometimes it's just the perception and then the additional sort of reinforcement of the misperception of what something might be in regard to moderation. It's censorship. So it becomes chaos. It literally does become all manner of chaos unfolding for everyone on the platform to some degree. So, hey, I'm just trying to keep in touch with my family on Facebook. Well, you're still going to be shown these awful things in the name of advertising or in the name of the algorithm. And with reduced moderation and with changes in policy on what's allowable to post on Facebook, for example, you may be seeing more and more things you don't like. I don't know. Haven't used Facebook in a couple of years. Too much moderation can drive rebellion, like, again, censorship, or like, oh, I can't believe they took down my post. It wasn't even whatever. And that happened to me on Facebook many years ago. I posted a photo of a brawl that broke out at a casino during the pandemic, because the casinos were, see if you see a theme here, they were in need of people coming in through the door to potentially spend money, so they were not really filtering people. They were not moderating participation. So people would come in and then they would run into other people that they didn't like, and instead of, turning away and going somewhere else, they threw down. They got into some fisticuffs, and the video was probably like 7 seconds or something. And I posted it just like, oh, this is the pandemic in Vegas. And they took it down because it was inappropriate, because it was violence or whatever. It was like, okay. It was actually taken from a news report. So it was posted as news, but not on Facebook. So then all manner of aha can follow from that. And in some cases, this is legitimate. In some cases, it's maybe personal, or where is that line? It's hard to say. So yeah, too much moderation can drive rebellion. Not enough moderation can drive degradation. So things just like the example I gave of the casino, if you let more and more pass, if you let more and more people who have things to say what they want to say, at some point you may start getting some anger. There may be people who feel put upon. They feel hate speech is flowing to them. Either way, the platform itself becomes something of a conch or conch shell. Conch is the correct pronunciation. If we recall our reading of The Lord of the Flies from high school, did you read that book? The whole thing becomes rather dystopian, kind of like the story in that book. It becomes us versus them. People become a little bit more base, but not in a good way. Returning to our reptilian brains. Back in those early days when there were multiple platforms competing for attention, and while MySpace is still around, it became clear that, for example, there are various platforms that are still around. It became clear that the likes of Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and even TikTok would trounce their competitors. They were the people's choice, if you will. With great reach comes great responsibility, however. At some point, some fraction of a population will reach a critical mass and decide to bail. Like, Twitter is turning into a cesspool. Now X has become a cesspool. Facebook is becoming a real pit. There's nothing but hate speech, nothing but this, nothing but people are attacking me. Anytime I say anything, everything is bots, right? So it just becomes a degraded sort of a bad neighborhood, perhaps. So people will, they'll reach a critical mass and say, hey, we got to get out of here. This is not, let's go to a competing platform. But the competitors are already known to be not quite good enough. So now what? Well, behind the scenes, people are always developing what could be the next new thing, and then it turns out to not be, or maybe it kind of catches on a little bit. So Jack Dorsey from Twitter was like, Twitter is becoming a really horrible platform. So he was part of the initial notion of we should build a version of Twitter that's open and federated. You can interoperate with other services and so on. So, okay, kudos to Jack Dorsey for driving this a little bit. He was not the only one, but Blue Sky was born, the AT protocol, which initially was not open source, but now a lot of Blue Sky functionality is available for others to explore and use, open source licensing and whatnot. I've not looked at the licensing, but so the decentralization protocol AT Proto can be used to interoperate with Blue Sky. But Blue Sky was launched by Jack Dorsey and others, and then eventually he bailed. So he no longer uses Blue Sky. So that's sort of strange. Blue Sky was developed to make a decentralized federation of platforms possible. Eventually, there could be other platforms useful at scale for people to join that could interoperate with Blue Sky and vice versa. So that's what Jack was trying to do. There are many Fediverse platforms emerging. So remember, Fediverse Wikipedia page, if you want to kind of start from that point, making use of the older activity streams concept. So this is like a document format for like, what did you do today? Activity stream, this is a picture, this is a video, and this is a blog post. So all kinds of different objects in your activity stream, object schema. They are connected with the newer Activity Pub protocol. So it's a publication scheme for activity streams. So you can connect followers and you can send updates and notifications of updates and actual content and so on. So it's a way to move links and notifications and so on all around between different servers. Like AT Proto, open source, but unlike Blue Sky, the number of choices, the level of creativity, and the potential for more appears to have a substantial head start in the Fediverse. Is Blue Sky in the Fediverse? That remains to be seen. Arguably yes, but practically not quite. There are thousands of servers that are using ActivityPub to communicate and interoperate. Not quite so true of Blue Sky at the present time, and Blue Sky does not directly interoperate with anything else in the Fediverse. I could be wrong. Whenever you're listening to this, things could have changed. Keep that in mind. So one could easily depart Facebook or X and join not only any number of platforms, but any number of instances of any number of platforms if you're thinking about an ActivityPub platform. And remember, Fediverse Observer, I think that's what it was. Was it Fediverse Observer? Let me check. Hey, yeah, Fediverse Observer. So you can start there and find various platforms that you could jump on, try out. You can try things out. You don't have to change your whole life around to try out a Mastodon server. You can compare Mastodon and Blue Sky. Unfortunately, leaving one platform that has made your use of it uncomfortable in whatever ways you deem unacceptable, right? I don't like the comments. I don't like the advertising. I don't like the policies. It could be anything. It could be any collection of things. Going to another may not be quite equivalent, and everything may seem fine. So, I'm going to go join Blue Sky, and their moderation is kind of different, but it's okay, and their policies are fine, I guess. And I guess it's okay. Yeah, I'm going to like it here in Blue Sky. And then, who knows? Everything seems fine now, but eventually some variation on a theme may appear. Moving between platforms due to policy or population issues, that is, I don't like the way the platform works, I don't like the people that are on the platform, will lead each of us into a decision-making cycle, perhaps, where it is only a matter of time until, well, it's time to move to the next platform. So I don't know if Blue Sky is going to continue to be the place to be for the next 10, 20 years. Twitter's been around for, 20 years? it could go completely south in 5 years, could go completely south in 1 year, could be the best place on the internet to hang out for 25 years. Who can say? The nature of the beast. That's a saying. I'm not saying Blue Sky is any sort of a beast. So one choice is to jump to another platform. And then you have to wonder, like, is it just a swarm of people running back and forth between different platforms? Oh, this place sucks. Let's go to the next one. A million people gather up and move. Another choice is Posse. Again, the Posse acronym. Publish on your own server. So that's publish on, P-O, and then your own server, S, and then syndicate elsewhere, S-E, so P-O-S-S-E. Posse is something of a return to the old days when we were self-hosting, doing what we wanted to do, publishing what we wanted to publish, and determining what our policies were. I am never going to publish a photo of my children. Okay, I don't have any children, but if I did, my policy, never going to publish photos of them on my server. There you go. Photos of my children should never appear on the internet because I have all the photos and I'm never going to publish them. That's my policy. Can other people publish photos of their children on your server? Maybe you'll say, you know what? I'd rather you didn't. Publish them on your server if you want to. I don't want you to share that information on mine because I don't want to be responsible for that. Okay, then. So you get to set your policies. That's just one example. There could be anything. What kinds of words? And guess what? If you're the only one using your server, maybe it's you and members of your family, but it's, you basically are controlling what you want to put out there. Hey, can I log into your server and publish my own stuff? I'd rather you didn't. This is really for my family, or it's really just for me. That's okay. Because guess what? Can I sign up and... No, but you can create your own server and you can publish whatever you want, wherever you are. So the Posse concept says, okay, do that. But then, well, nobody will find me. Google never publishes my links in their search results. Well, you can syndicate elsewhere, which means publishing a link, sharing a link to another place. Hey, I have a Blue Sky account, or a Mastodon account, a Twitter account, or an X account, Facebook, and a Reddit, and you can just put links linking back to your content whenever you want. If your account gets deleted completely, if you get put in Facebook jail, if you're suspended for a month or whatever it is on one platform, if you've been telling your friends, your colleagues, your followers, your tweets, whatever, I know what a tweet is, I'm just kidding. If you've made it clear, here's where you find the original information. You've been clicking on links back to my home base for this whole time. So just go directly to my home base if you want. So you can never really be canceled. WordPress itself is something of a poop show of late, if I'm keeping it clean. It established itself early on, one of many old school platforms that you can deploy yourself. However, over time, more and more possibilities are emerged, so that even Blue Sky might be something you could deploy yourself to interoperate with other AT Proto platforms, maybe. But all of the Fediverse tools and platforms so far are designed for this out of the box. You can just deploy your own PixelFed server if you want your own Instagram-like platform. Or maybe for your family and friends in a club locally, you're going to have like your PixelFed, like here are the activities of our team or our club or our family or our organization, our company. So you could publish your own stuff. You don't have to worry about algorithms reordering things. You don't have to worry about advertisements getting inserted in random places. You can say, hey, you know what? You can post links just like the old days, like the real internet. No breaking of links. And if PixelFed doesn't do what you want, you can always fork it and make changes to it, or have someone you know who would do such things, make changes to it, make it work the way you need it to, feed those changes back to the community. Hey, maybe you've made a change that works for everybody. Like, yeah, this makes more sense. Sure. And maybe AT Proto platforms will grow in that direction as well, and maybe they'll interoperate a bridge between AT Proto and ActivityPub. I think those already exist, actually. So Blue Sky could become other similar platforms, and I believe there already are somewhat. I think they're prototypes at this point, but I think there's Gray Sky. There might be a variety of others. So yeah, things are moving along. So the good news, I'm not here to to say one is better than the other, but ActivityPub has been around longer, and there are more choices today, so you can actually try that out. But AT Proto might be. We'll see. We'll see what happens. There might be some other thing that works even better, or is better in some way. It could, but as long as stuff interoperates in the Fediverse, you can have your own micro community. You can decide who can join, and maybe you want to send people away. maybe it's time for you to move on. You're no longer welcome in our micro. That's up to you. So now it's not I've been canceled, but I'm not. They don't want me in that little micro community anymore because I said something mean. Like, yeah, you did. Okay, move on. Now you have a direct connection in some cases to the people you're offending. So don't do that. The wall of anonymity that conceals some of the worst behavior on the larger legacy social media platforms is no small part of the problem. There's more than one problem, but the problem of people saying offensive things and posting content that's awful. Like, I can do this and no one will know it was me. And in fact, it was a robot that did it. It wasn't even a human. The important decision is whether to sign up with someone else's platform or deploy your own. The nice thing about deploying your own, you make the decisions, but you may not have any audience. And who likes talking to themselves all day? So again, the posse concept, you control your original materials. You own the originals. You decide which pictures are visible to the world and which are not. And then even the world could be, a subset of a population. You can have something like a sign up roadblock. But really, hey, if it's not supposed to be seen by everybody, don't publish it on the internet. You can share links back to your own home base, your self-published, published on your own server component to other platforms, maybe X, maybe Facebook, Reddit, maybe a Mastodon server or 20, maybe on Blue Sky. By maintaining your own home base servers even, and by first of all, you keep all your content on, yourself. You don't every video I've ever shot was on YouTube and now they deleted my account. Well, keep the originals. Keep the originals in a safe place if you really want to save them. You publish them on your own home base, on your own home server, on your own cloud server that you pay for. It's your domain. You own everything. It's your responsibility. And then you share links back to it and people can find it and so on. But at any point along there, you maintain your own stuff. It's difficult to be canceled in that case, to be bullied. Hey, people are posting stuff on my server. Well, kick them off. So it's hard to be, people can talk about you somewhere else, but then who cares? People can be disappointed. You can be disappointed. And that's just the nature of the internet when you allow others to dictate your behavior, what you're allowed to do, what they will let you do, and so on. Your home base is yours either way. So the future. So basically the take home from this is what we have now is becoming uncomfortable. I don't know about untenable, but uncomfortable for many people. There are options. The celebrity factions of the world appear to be leaning towards Blue Sky, possibly because that's the one, you can jump to one place. One of the things that people get confused about with Mastodon or with ActivityPub in general is, wait, I can follow you on a different server? I don't understand that. And I always tell people, if you're going to send me email, you can send me email at dhugo@ffstalk.com, for example. If you wanted to connect, and if I had an account like this, if I had a Mastodon server or some other ActivityPub server on the ffstalk.com domain, I might say, or you can follow me at @dhugo at ffstalk.com, ffstalk.com. And someone will say, I don't understand that. And you're like, yeah, but if you take off the front @ symbol, it's just the email address. And I can have email addresses all over the place. So now if you add the @ symbol at the front, you're saying to a ActivityPub platform, oh, okay, look for this username, Hugo, on this server. So I'll look up this server. I'll go to the well-known location and I'll say, do you have a user named this? Oh, okay, I'm going to follow them. So that escapes some people. It's a little bit too crazy. So I think that's one of the reasons that there's sort of everybody get behind Blue Sky. So we'll see how that works out. But Blue Sky is going to grow with ex-refugees, if you pardon the use of that term. They're just people who are not happy at X, and they need to be somewhere. I need to belong somewhere. Facebook may see some backlash, but there are so many pages and groups and marketplace users, the Facebook marketplace, and those who depend on it. They have their businesses there. Departure may take a while. If it happens at all, there may be people so entrenched, they've so handed over their personal connections and their business engagements and so on to the Facebook platform. It may be a while if they really want to leave. the majority will seek a platform to rally around, to be a part of, to call home. That may be blue sky for the next decade, or things may go awry sooner. Maybe it may be awful next year. It may be wonderful for 50 years. Who knows? Some of us will embrace, and by some of us, I do mean me also, will embrace some self-determinism, the creativity and flexibility and the possibility, maybe possibilities, that come from the Wild West days, adopt the posse notion, and run our own servers, homegrown or Fediverse or both. There are no rules. While there is some cost involved, financial and time commitment among them, ultimately this is the solution that serves each individual as they need it to be. I would like my internet experience to be this, and that's what I'm going to do. I can do it. The tools and the software, the open source platforms and the protocols and the cloud hosting and the internet connections at home, the terrain is so much different compared to, when was it? I was working at Netscape in 1996, 96, 97, somewhere in there, 98, 96. I think it was 96. So it's on my resume somewhere. A lot has changed in the last 30 years. It'll be 30 years for me next year. Since then, the take home is that the options are many, and yet people rush to these silos. They rush from one silo to another. Personally, I don't think that's healthy. I think it hands over, you're just deciding who's going to control your presence. Okay, I'm going to take me from Facebook or X or whatever, and I'm going to give me to Blue Sky until they make me mad, and then I'm going to give me to somebody else. So if we can run our own servers and do our own thing, we will end up with more, we'll say, control, more oversight, more participation, more sovereignty, if you like, on the internet. So that the internet really was supposed to be that sort of a connect the way you want and share information the way you want. We can't have nice things because of the way some people have misused that, and these silo platforms are part of the problem, in my opinion. Still, others will double down on their favorite platforms, as I've just been describing, believing it will be theirs. This is our X. Go away, libs. Something like that. And we can hope that the digital battle will remain virtual and not enter the real world. What's going to happen if X and Blue Sky users converge on some town somewhere? And no, I'm not going to use the very fine people thing, which itself was spread on social media and was a mischaracterization. And believe it or not, I'm on the side of people who say that the term has been corrupted, that the full statement that the now president-elect, soon-to-be re-elected President Trump, what he was saying at the time was mischaracterized and has been turned into an excerpt that was poorly clipped. So the way social media can be used and abused is to spread half-truths and misinformation and so on. So what if there's now instead of MAGA versus Antifa, let's just make up names. It's, the X people were in town and the Blue Sky people were in town and they converged at the whatever and they got into a big fight. And who knows? It's almost that ridiculous. So physical altercations and maybe worse, they seem likely though in today's climate. We'll have to see what happens, but nobody is going to be showing up anywhere from the FFS Talk platform. It would be a very small crowd. So there you go. That's just some thoughts on this. I think the social media landscape needs to change. I think it's been, I would say stagnant, but that's not quite the word, but it's been too entrenched. How about that? Too entrenched for too long. Facebook has grown far too powerful. People have become far too rich for no good reason. And they've only corrupted the nature of social interaction. They've completely changed what it means to be a friend. The Jonathan Haidt book, An Anxious Generation, is it? Is that what it is? I read the book. It's okay. The conclusion was wrong, I think. The solution in the conclusion was wrong, in my opinion. But the take home is that more people are living their social interactions through these digital platforms rather than, like I said earlier, going outside and interacting with people. Like, oh no, I lost followers. Okay. But maybe you didn't have those followers. You can't be friends with everybody. You can't have everyone following you. They're not real. They're not real people. They don't really care what you're doing. Can you manage 200 million followers or whatever Leon has on X at this point? Who knows? What does that even mean? You really, I don't know if the Dunbar number is correct, 150, I think it is. But, do you really need to have that much reach if you're just a normal person? No. So you have an agenda. If you got 200 million people following you and doing things based on what you say, that's a lot. So I think most of us really are we post a quip, we post a photo sometimes we comment on a news article. Maybe we have a little circle of people we interact with on a regular basis. From there, it just gets a little bit weirder every time. I'm a fan of going outside. So, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see what social media chaos brings us in the near term. And like I said, I'm a fan of the posse notion. Reclaim your presence and your presence on the internet. Reclaim your virtual presence in general, whether it's on the internet or just the information you choose to share in any way. Email uses the internet, but email is kind of like, legacy before the internet. But if you send out, you could email just the people you want to email. You can share information. You can interact with. You can have conversations with. There's no real reason that you must be a member of Blue Sky. But look at the people that are doing it. The people that have a celebrity persona to promote. They want to engage their fans. Businesses want to engage their customers. You want to be able to have your brand so that someone else can't claim it or someone else can't disparage it, and you don't have a way to respond in the same sphere. So it's just become very weird and competitively annoying. We got to get our name so nobody else does. I remember those days. I used to try to sign up as Dan Hugo on every platform that came out. And what did that get me? A lot of accounts I don't use on platforms that don't exist anymore. So, but own your own, and you don't have to worry about it. If you want to find me, and the verification scheme on Mastodon is easier to deal with than the one on Blue Sky, by the way. But anyway, I could ramble on for another hour. I will not. I'm happy to say my computer did not crash one time the way I'm recording this now. So that's good, but my computer should not crash. That was bad. That has to be fixed. So I got to get on that. In the meantime, I thank you for listening, and consider the social media landscape in the next year or two. What's happening and what could happen. And consider publishing for yourself. Really think about, do I want to feel as though I must be a member of a platform that does not have my interests? They're shareholders. Those are the ones that they worry about. Profit. The impoofification. I refer to Cory Doctorow's piece quite often. He uses a different word, but we're keeping it clean here. The impoofification of social media and platforms and software in general and the world. Everything eventually becomes, we really didn't care about you this whole time. It's all about our profit. We don't even care about our advertisers. How can we make money from everybody directly and sit on a big pile of sit on a big pile of money, big pile of gold like Daffy Duck, and count our money. Anyway, that seems like a good point to end. And I need some water again. Thank you for listening. Take care.